This is the train to Shenfield via Stratford.
Hi. So I have just finished handover, and basically it took about an hour because I have to know about all of the patients who are waiting in A&E and everyone who's an inpatient who needs any help during the night or needs to be monitored. I was handed over 5 patients that I have to go see in A&E, and right now I am on my way down to A&E. Hi, so I'm basically back in the office now. What I want to do is just document the patients that I have seen in A&E. I've finished most of them. I usually, whenever I see a patient in A&E, I try my best to document them immediately. I prescribe any medications they need so that they can go home immediately with no delays from my point. Sometimes that's a bit difficult because you keep getting phone calls when you're in A&E, and sometimes you have to see patients who are more urgent than you documenting. You have to prioritize whenever you're in A&E. The reason I had to delay some of the documentation is because I had a lady who was recently admitted today, and she simply is not feeling very well, and we had to alert the intensive treatment room. We basically had to alert the intensive treatment unit so that they can take her in today, because she's simply not doing too well, and the ward that she's in right now is just not enough to monitor her overnight. She is definitely somebody that I have to be watching over throughout the night. So I hope that there are no more emergency cases that come along, because I am quite worried about this lady and she is definitely my priority. Okay, so there is maybe one thing I'd like to address at the moment, which is I saw a few comments on the last video and maybe another one before it about wearing short sleeves while being a hijabi. So the rule in British hospitals is, in order to make sure that there is infection control and that we do not take any infection or bacteria from one patient to the other, we're supposed to be bare below the elbows. So if you notice, my sleeves are actually long, but I am not allowed to go outside and see patients with long sleeves. I have to make sure that my sleeves are above the elbow. I'm kind of pushing it right now and just keeping them here, but when I leave the room, I have to pull them a bit higher. If I'm not in the hospital, of course, I would wear my full sleeves and just be normal. Other than that, I do appreciate all of these comments, and I appreciate that many of you are concerned and saying that, as a hijabi, it should be covered. but these are the rules, and if I'm working in this hospital and in this country, then there are rules that I have to adhere to. Also, there were some points where I had my sleeve a bit lower, and I went to A&E in the resuscitation area, and we had patients who were bleeding. So whenever I'm helping to like transfer a patient or examine a patient, I'd have blood on my sleeves, which is not exactly something you want to continue your shift with, and it just becomes very difficult. Most of the people wear just the scrubs, but for me, I just need to make sure that I'm properly covered up for it. I also saw in the comments that some of the medical students are basically asking for tips on how I used to study medicine when I was a medical student. And I would say it definitely varies from person to person. If you would like me to film an entire video on the studying process and what worked for me or what not, just let me know in the comments below. But for now, I can just give you a couple of tips. For example, my number one tip is that repetition is really important. I usually don't, as a medical student, I didn't really go to exams without repeating what I had to study. I'm not the type to just memorize it the night before and then go to the exam. I'd like to go over the materials 2 to 3 times. Not fully, like I don't go over everything, but I go through the main points more than once. One good way to do that is I use flashcards. There are 2 ways in which you can do it. You can basically have the electronic ones like Anki. I can put the link in the description. Anki was pretty useful for me, but somehow I'm a bit traditional and I like paper. I keep writing in these flashcards that I just have with me, and I just go through them every once in a while. I found that to be very useful, and I'm very concise in the way I write my notes. I function well with colors. I like to keep my notes colorful. That's how I remember them whenever I need to recall something. Is I remember something is in a green color or a blue color or red. It works for me. I'm not sure if it works for everyone, but if you are still exploring ways to study, I would say try out flashcards, make sure they're colorful, make sure you're repeating what you're studying. I don't study every day. I never did. I am not a study every day kind of person. However, I make lists of what I need to finish on the day I need to study. So for example, I remember in med school, I used to have that one day off where I make sure I don't study anything. So for example, I would say Thursday full day, I don't study anything, or Sunday full day, I don't study anything. And it doesn't change every week, it does not change. Sunday would be my day off, and that's the day where I don't touch anything. I definitely recommend that you have one day a week where you know that's your break day, and that's the one day that you just simply don't study anything. And don't think about studying. Watch binge series, watch a movie, just go out, do anything, and make sure you don't touch anything. It helps refresh you, and it helps you to start, I don't know, mentally be prepared the next day to start studying. What else did I want to say? I'm trying to just think of whatever I can think of right now so that I can just make this video a bit more beneficial. Yeah, so I don't study by hours, I study by topics. I know that many people study and say, oh, for example, from 7 a.m. till 12 p.m. I will be studying, then I will take an hour break, and then from 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. I'll study again for 6 hours or so. I never did that. I always studied by topics. So for example, before I go to bed today, I would think to myself, what do I want to study tomorrow? And basically make it a very realistic plan. It depends on your energy levels. Some days you're more energetic, so you can study heavy topics. Some days you just need something light. Assess yourself the day before, and basically I would be like, for example, if I'm studying the upper limb, I would say, I'd write a list. I like to function with checklists, and I would say, For example, tomorrow I will be studying the brachial plexus. I will be studying brachial plexus injuries, and I will also, for example, be studying humerus fractures and maybe extend it into the forearm. And the way it works is, if I wake up in the morning, assuming that it's a day off, if I wake up in the morning and I have energy to study, I start studying. I already know what I'm supposed to study today, and I know that no matter what, I need to finish these topics today. If I wake up and I don't want to study, which it does happen, let's face it, then I would just, I don't know, just have breakfast, watch some TV, go outside for a walk, come back knowing that I still need to finish these topics. It doesn't matter if I start at 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 12 p.m., or 6 p.m. All I know is I shouldn't go to bed without finishing this set of topics. And if I go the next day without finishing these topics, then I have failed in my study day and I did not go as planned. These are just small tips. I'm more than happy to make another video which is more talking about study tips and how to improve your studying. But for now, let's stick to this because I am on call and they can call me at any second and you never know. Hi, this is Rakaya. Thank you very much. Bye. It's currently 3 a.m. So I just need to go check on the lady who wasn't feeling very well. Hi, new on call, new night. So I've started filming a bit late. As soon as I arrived, I got my handover. And basically what I'm doing now, I wrote a small list of all the patients that I have to see and all the things that I have to do. And I just basically started to get on with it. I'm on my way to the emergency room right now just to consent a patient who was seen by the day team but not consented for surgery. So I just have to make sure that she's consented and ready to be done tomorrow morning. And then just have to make sure I'm sorting out the patients in the ward. And yeah, that's basically it.
Lift going up. Doors closing. Level 12.
On call number 3. It is currently 10:59. I have already seen 4 patients upstairs, and I've got 2 patients left downstairs. We do have some patients who have not been feeling very well, so honestly I have to prioritize them first before I see the A&E patients, because whenever you're seeing patients you basically have to prioritize. Alright, this is finally my 4th night on call. I am so happy because this is the final night of a 4-night stretch, and then I will be back next weekend for 3 nights. But at least I get the break in between, which is this weekend. Hi, just going to recovery to see one of the patients that had a surgery today, and after the surgery he's having some low blood pressure, so I just have to make sure that he's doing fine, because surgical patients, they sometimes lose a lot of blood, and we basically just have to monitor them, and I'll just speak to the anesthesia and nurses looking after him as well. Okay, so just went to see my patient, but thankfully he's been well enough to be moved back up to the ward. So now I'll just go back upstairs to the ward and just go see him, because I have to make sure that he's doing well. Alright, so just waiting for a lift. So basically, I'm just going upstairs to check on the patient just to make sure that he's doing fine. Hospital's a bit quiet at night. Sometimes I like it, where you feel like you're a bit organized, you're a bit under control, because you go see your patient at a convenient time. Sometimes when you're doing a day shift, it becomes very hectic. Alright, my lift is here.
Doors closing.
Alright, as I was saying, during the day it gets very hectic, and because you're not only seeing the patients in resus, which is the resuscitation area, you're also seeing patients in A&E, which is they're more stable, and you're also seeing patients being admitted from clinic, which is a bit hectic, and then you're also helping in the ward round. At night, it's just you, your bleep, resuscitation. At night, it's just you and your bleep and the resuscitation area.
Lift going down. Doors closing.
So it's 3 o'clock. Basically, I just did a care round on some of the patients that I know that are not doing very well. I am quite exhausted today because it's the 4th night. I honestly don't feel like I have the energy, but it's 3 o'clock. It's only
Level
5.
2.
It's only 5 hours left, so
Doors
we can do
open.
this.
Oh my goodness. You see, it's so beautiful when the sun set. The sun is coming out rather.
That's absolutely gorgeous.
It is.